thanks for coming on the Vantage Point Podcast. You're the hardest working person I think I've ever met. What is
Really?
it that drives you?
Do you know what? I just love bettering myself. And I suppose I've always trained since I was a teenager, but never got into it seriously, I suppose, until I'm quite old now. I hit my 40s, I'd say. I was always seriously trained, but saw progress when I hit my 40s and got into it seriously with more nutrition, as well as the training as well. But I just get a really good buzz from it all. I suppose it's endorphins as well. I don't know if you get that when you're
Yeah,
training. And I suppose it's become as does a healthy addiction. And I wish
yeah.
I really promote like the heavy lifting now, especially for women. So, and I wish I'd started when I was way younger. So that's kind of where I am at the moment, like with weight training, as well
Yeah.
as the cardio and stuff as well, but definitely getting stronger.
Do you think hitting a certain age made you think more about your health? And do you wish you'd started getting into that earlier?
Yeah, I've always, as I said, always trained, always kept my
Yeah.
body stayed the same kind of shape for like years. I'd have small increases. I'd like do body pump classes at the local gym and spinning and stuff like that, which is great. And I'd probably be the only one in the class that actually put extra weight on in the pump class. Um, and then I hit 40, I suppose, and I got introduced to, not that I can promote them, but it kind of helped me see that like nutrition is a big part of it. And that was Beachbody, so it's a big American um, um, program, basically. Do you know
Yeah.
Insanity?
Yeah, yeah.
Sean T, Insanity. So I got into that, and they had different programs, and they were talking more about strength. And I didn't really take strength seriously. I was more about the cardio, the hit. And I thought, actually, let me do this strength training program called Lift 4. And I did it, I stuck to it rigid. I kept on buying extra dumbbells. I was spending quite a bit of money on dumbbells. But you could see the progression, and I could see my body changing from sticking to being consistent, sticking to the nutrition side of things as well. And it just made me realize, okay, training just generally, just eating what you want is going to sort of maintain a certain amount of health and strength and whatever. But if you want to see goals and body change and body transformation, you've got to be involved in the whole thing, just nutrition as well as the strength and obviously the cardio as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, I did.
Make it a
That's what
lifestyle.
trained. Yeah, exactly. And once
Yeah.
you make it a lifestyle, initially it may seem not hard, but and you're not missing out as such. You can kind of have what you want to a certain degree. You're basically reducing portion size, I think, really. Obviously eating a bit healthier than like just fish and chips, but smaller portions. Um, but yeah, sticking to it, and it does. You do realize the change becomes easier, and then you just carry
Yeah.
on living that way.
Talk to me about
So
motivation. How does someone who's unmotivated, who feels like they'd never have the motivation to step foot in a gym, how do you build the motivation to do that and turn your life around?
someone who's unmotivated,
Yeah.
um,
Like a new client who really isn't motivated and they need that push. What
yeah,
would you say to them?
I lead by example. So the first thing kind of motivates some people would be how your trainer looks or how you look, and they think, okay, I want to try and look a bit more like you, have been strong like you. So that's like a first like aesthetics kind of motivation, and then it's I suppose just starting someone off in a way that they can achieve things more easily, so not pushing them too hard. And then hopefully, if they focus on, if their say goal is weight loss, for example, if they start off and you guide them through a nutrition plan, for example, um, and then they see results slowly but surely, then that hopefully will be enough motivation to keep them going. You hope. It's not always the
Yeah.
case. It's not always the case. It's a lot about mindset.
Yeah.
Some
100%.
people need to be nagged more than others. Some clients need to be nagged more than others, but um, people go with what they see a lot of the time, and that sort of motivates them initially. And then it's just making sure you keep them engaged and have that contact with them as much as possible.
Yeah,
What
that kind
motivates
of
you?
personal touch.
What motivates
I
you?
guess health. I guess health, like long term, I want to be as strong and as powerful as I can. We don't get long on earth, and I want to
Yeah,
kind of get the most out of it. And I think it's only going to benefit me in everything I do to be as strong, as fast, as focused, because gym, it increases your mental focus. If your body's healthy, your brain's healthy. Yeah. So if you're eating right, looking after yourself,
yeah,
yeah, that's what motivates me, just getting the most out of life, because we're not here for that long. And yeah, that's it essentially.
yeah,
And I think a lot of people just lack that first step, that push, something in their life that happens where it makes them think, oh, I've got to resort my priorities and
yeah,
get on top of this kind of stuff, or I'm limiting my potential.
yeah. A lot of people, it is like hitting that certain age. I think around the 40 mark seems to be an age when people think, oh shit, I need to get myself in shape now. I've got kids or whatever it is. I need to be strong. They're running around. I can't keep up with them. That's kind of, in my experience, how, like, when clients I've got that come in at that sort of age, they're like, oh, I seriously need to make a change now. If you
Yeah,
can get people when they're younger, like especially at the weight training,
ideal.
they reap the rewards from it. But like as I said, physically, your bones are stronger. You walk around more confidently. Just feel better in yourself. And it's just trying
Mm.
to get people to realize that potential. But yeah, the first thing is getting people off the chairs, because humans aren't made for sitting down. Humans are made for like moving, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's
Yeah.
it's interesting what you said about confidence as well. Like that's a huge thing, and I think it says something when, like I'll walk into a local, supermarket like a Tesco, and I'll think, just back of my mind, somewhere in the back of my mind, it's like I can lift more weight than everyone in here, and that gives you just some sort of deep level of confidence that there's
Yeah,
no
yeah,
way
yeah.
you could have, and it just makes you feel safer, makes you feel like you can do more, or you're more willing to engage in conversation with people because you're less scared of everything.
Yeah.
um how do you deal with fear, or how can you
Fear.
use fear? Yeah.
So I've experienced a few things that have like made me feel like I was on a plane before that was like the landing gears broke, and
Right.
so we were trying to land, and we took about 5 hours to land. And the pilots weren't sure how we were going to land.
Oh god.
So
Wow.
yeah, it was kind of crazy. We were going to land on the water, then we didn't, and then in the end it worked out okay. We landed, but I was freaked out, so scared. But and when we landed, we had the option then the next day to fly again. And so there were some people who were like, I can't. I'm just like, it's too much. That was too much for me to get back and play the next day. But I just thought, you know what? Face that fears. Don't let it get to you. You survived. You know, don't let it stop you. You're due to go to we'll go to Las Vegas. So I'm not gonna, let this scare me off and getting on and going on that holiday that I wanted to go on. And also like fear when I'm going under the bar, for example, when I'm lifting heavy weights, there is a
Mm.
certain amount of fear when I'm lifting or heavy squatting, heavy deadlifting, because I know if I make one little mistake, form's bad, that I could get injured. So and
Yeah,
it's hard work, and it is hard.
Mike Tyson was famously quoted as saying that he goes into the ring scared. This is like the most intimidating boxer of all time, arguably, and he goes into the ring scared, but he uses that fear to his advantage to put that on his opponent, right? And I think it's a similar thing we see in the gym. I'm a big fan of Mike Tyson, and I used to watch his clips before I go for a training session just to amp myself up.
Okay,
And
okay.
I think there's a similar feeling, like you're saying then, when you do go under the bar, and like you're saying there, if you make one little tiny mistake, it could all go wrong. But if you get that new PB, if you make that weight,
Yeah,
then that unlocks all
yeah,
sorts of doors for you. And then it's embracing the fear and using it and challenging it,
yeah.
channeling it in a certain way, applying it to what you're doing.
But
How can we use that to our advantage?
the fear makes you focus, doesn't it? Because
Yeah.
this could go wrong if I'm not 100% focused. So you're making sure your breathing's right, your technique's on, your back's tight, your lats are in, everything's engaged. You can't, at that level, you can't muck it up. So you just use that to, and you get into a zone. You get into that, like, okay, get serious. This is not going to beat me. And because you know that feeling when you've done that set and you have got that PB, it's the best feeling. And you do, and you feel yourself getting stronger. And that's the best feeling, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. How do you fight the urge to quit? When you're training constantly, you're always going for it. How do you fight the urge to just like be like, nah, that's enough?
Sometimes I don't put pressure on myself. So if I know I've got to train, like this evening, I'm going to train squats later. So I'm going to like not put any too much pressure on myself. I'm going to go for my set and not feel stressed, because I can get stressed by like knowing I've got a heavy set to do later.
Yeah.
And if I go in with more of an attitude, like, okay, I'm just going to do what I can do. I know I need to hit a certain amount of weight. And if I can hit more, that's great.
Yeah,
and
go
then
through
if I
the
go
motions.
In with that attitude, then I usually hit a PB. I usually or just do better than I expect, because I'm not putting too much pressure on myself. But knowing that I'm going to get a good workout done, get decent numbers, and I'm just kind of more relaxed that way. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, of course.
I don't
like
always go out every time to make a PB.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I turn up to the gym. I'm not really feeling that day. I think in my back of my mind, I'm like, right, just go through the motions, get the reps and sets I need done. And then if then I end up feeling it, 90% of the time I do, And so at that point where you go to the gym and you feel like, oh, actually, I don't want to do this, just get through the first 3 or 4 sets of your workout. Chances are you're going to have a change of heart and you just stick with it. And I think turning up is the most important thing.
Yeah.
How many times a day do you normally train? You train a lot, right? More than once a day normally.
Once or twice a day, depending on my work schedule and stuff. But sometimes I'll go if I get a break in the day, I'll go in the day and then go in the evening. But because there's a 24-hour gym that I'm a member of, and I've got racks at home as well, so I can train.
Just in case 24 hours isn't enough.
Yeah, I love and I kind of like the quiet times in the gym, because if you go 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, it's just rammed, and so you can't.
Yeah,
I think there's more things to distract, and if you're lifting heavy, it's like last thing you need is someone walking by you. You know how it is.
Like right in your space, and or you feel people looking at you like, yeah. So for someone who trains as much as you, like, what do you do for recovery? Like, how do you not feel sore all the time?
Eat lots of protein. I feel fuel for my training. So, I mean, I used to be I'm not too big, but I'm used to be a lot more slight, I suppose. Not skinny, well, maybe a little bit skinny, but I was more than not able to. You have to sort of bulk up a bit to get the numbers in. But so I eat properly, lots of protein, as I said. I don't get enough sleep. That's one thing I should be doing more. Is I know I need to get more sleep.
Big part of it. That's when you grow muscle. That's when you grow.
So I always hit a better set when I've had more sleep, basically. So it just proves it to me. But it's just like fitting in busy schedule and a bit of a night owl as well. But recovery wise, I'll take it easy on some days. I'm now toning down where I was doing a bit more sort of Metcon type workouts. I'm kind of going a bit low impact, because that was affecting my heavy lifting. And my coach was telling me off for doing it, and although I love it, the Metcon, I get such a buzz from it. You're more prone to injury, so it's not worth it. You've got to weigh up. You've got to be sensible. So I'm going a bit more low impact. I'm going for some 5K rows now, which I'm enjoying.
Awesome. That's good. Because like when you're doing rounds of like 50 squats every minute or something, and then next minute you're trying to do a strength workout and get a squat PB. It's probably not going to happen, is it?
No way.
Yeah. I noticed you do handstands a lot. You've been practicing
Uh,
handstands like all the time. What's going on with handstands? Why do you do that? And why do you want to be really good at handstands?
you know what? I'm really bad at like any sort of gymnastics type thing. So I can't even do cartwheel. So for me,
Really?
getting up, no, I'm so
That's
bad.
it.
My
No way.
proprioception is so bad. That's so bad. So I wish I could. I've always wanted to like even doing like a forward roll. I don't know if it's after you hit a certain age or after having kids. I get a blackout when my head spins. So my body's just not made for sort of fast flips or whatever. Anyway, so that doing a handstand, I just feel like I've accomplished something that I've like as a kid I've always wanted to do. And I know I need to come away from the wall, and everyone keeps telling me, but I've got to then learn how to come out of a handstand, and that means like semi cartwheel. And I'm like, oh my god! So that's a fear for me. But getting up and doing the handstands and it is it's a nice little exercise anyway. It's like all core. It's like it's balance, isn't it? It's learning to like
Yeah.
be upside down, balancing on your hands like as if they were your feet. So I kind of like that feeling. It's a lot of shoulder work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
as you see over the years, I haven't made much progress, but I'm kind of like,
I'd say it looks better now. It looks better now.
reckon?
But it's good because even though, like yeah, maybe it's slow progress, but the important thing is you haven't given up. You're still making
Yeah,
progress, slow as it is, you're still
yeah,
going. And you're facing a fear at the same time. A lot of people don't have that blackout and they still don't practice handstand. They still can't do a handstand, even though they probably more naturally could do it. You've worked at it. And so when you do finally achieve like a long handstand hold for as long as you want, that's going to
yeah.
be such a
You know,
cool
at the
thing for you. Yeah.
first, when I'd like do 5 seconds, 7 seconds, 8 seconds, it's like, oh my God, it just feels like forever. I'm like, how? And then I think, how am I doing this? Um, it's scary for a lot of people to do handstands. Actually, it's surprising.
Mm.
And I always start off on the floor, so I'm not one for like running up to the wall and doing a handstand. I'm scared of doing that. So I have my limitations. Can you
Fair enough.
handstand?
Hey,
Can you handstand?
not very well. I'm not gonna lie, it's not something I've really trained for. I might have to take a leaf out of your book and start practicing for that specifically. I want to do handstand push-ups. I think that's a
Yeah,
cool
yeah,
thing. I want to learn
yeah,
more calisthenic stuff,
yeah,
muscle ups, handstand push-ups, that kind of thing. I think
yeah,
it's just a cool thing to be able to do. It doesn't necessarily translate to any of the training I actually do. That's why I've not really focused on it, but it just looks cool.
yeah. Actually, I would love to do a muscle up. I'm going to start doing some training for it. They're tough though on the shoulders. That's the only thing. I've had a shoulder injury before, so I've just got to be careful. But
Yeah,
they do
yeah.
look
So the
cool.
top
They do
bit
look,
would be the hard bit for
yeah,
you, the actual dip at the top. Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I've seen you're pretty good at dips, but I think the hard part, I think for most people, is getting that chest to bar pull up
yeah,
to start with, and then being able to just flip yourself over. And then
yeah,
once you've got that weight off, you're probably good. Yeah, that's
yeah,
probably a goal for me this year. I want to try that. I want to get into that.
yeah.
Tell me about Power Wave. You're a Power Wave instructor, aren't you?
Yes, I
What is that?
am. The power wave of the power wave itself is one of those sandbags, like a um yeah, just a weighted sandbag
Yeah.
basically, but it's in the shape, it's in a kind of crest shape, and it's workouts with the power wave basically. They're 20-minute classes. There are strength focused workouts, and there are sort of more resistance cardio workouts as well. So it's fun to teach. It's fun to teach.
Hmm.
The studio I am in Barnes was power wave. We're now changing over to something else now. But yeah, still teach power waves, still use power waves. But
Awesome.
there's
Yeah. I've never actually used one. I've never used one. Is it a really, do you think that's a good bit of kit that should be in all gyms then, or?
do you not have it in your but not power waves actually have like the
We've got a
sandbag?
sandbags, yeah.
Yeah,
Sandbags,
they're
yeah, yeah.
very, very, very similar. They're a bit more what's the word? Ergonomic? Maybe not.
It
On
feels
your back.
better. Comfortable.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. So on your back, they feel
Okay.
better
Right.
than like one of the tube bags, basically. So they're designed specifically for comfort and the grip and everything. And I think there's new technology going into this, some new bags coming out that are being designed slightly differently. But I haven't got one of those
Interesting.
yet. But yeah,
Okay,
they're
yeah.
good fun. You can do a lot with them.
So tell me, I think a lot of people who follow you would think you probably live in the gym. And now you told me you've got a 24-hour gym. That's probably just going to contribute to that. But what do you want? What do you do when you're out of the gym? You must do other stuff. What are your
Uh,
hobbies outside of the gym?
I ride. I'm learning to ride a motorbike properly.
Oh,
So
I
I've
saw
got my
that. Yeah, yeah. How's that going?
yes, I've got a moped now. I fell off the bike. I fell off a motorbike, training for my tests, and so that was like getting back on that after falling was tough.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
got
I've
straight back
I've been
on
there.
it. Yeah, got straight back on it. I had a little injury. I think, do you know what? Having done weightlifting, my bones are strong. So I think if I hadn't been doing all the weightlifting, I think I would have broken my arm. So that's another
Right.
reason too. Yeah. So that was lucky. Injured my knee, set me back in my training, but I really wanted to carry on doing motorbiking. So I did my test a week later, shaking like a leaf. I passed mod one, passed mod two. So yeah, I'm riding. I've got a moped myself at the moment. Aim to get a motorbike, but that's kind of just want to get good at it. It's a skill. It's like lifting weights. It's all
Yeah, yeah.
skill and it's all practice.
Takes
So I love
practice just the same. Yeah.
yeah, and it's I wouldn't go crazy. I'm not a big massive speed freak, but it's such a freeing experience riding on a bike.
Not doing
So
any jumps, not doing any dirt bike
oh
jumps
my
then.
God, no.
But yeah, that just shows how like lifting can translate to other parts of your life again. Like you were saying, bone density. When you lift, it strengthens the bond between your muscles and your bones and increases the actual density of your bones because they
Exactly.
need to be strong enough to keep up with your muscles, right? And then with the fear, when you're in the gym, and this goes off the confidence point earlier, and you challenge yourself and push past your fears every day at some point of the day, even if it's just in a small way, like getting an extra rep in on squats or
Yep.
whatever, then that translates to other areas of your life. So you don't feel the kind of self-doubt that you might have done about going and learning to ride a motorbike because you think,
Yep.
I've already overcome fear today. I can do this, no problem, right?
Yep. Well, I never thought at my age, like learning to ride a bike, and I always said, in the past that I thought it was quite dangerous, so many accidents, but I just thought, you know what, give it a try. As long as you're sensible and
Mm.
and focus and do the proper training, and then having the strength. I mean, it is being on a bike if you're physically fitter as well, because there's quite a lot of core like in the turns and things that you like come into play. So as you said, it
Yeah.
just yeah, it's just
Yeah, it's like Lewis Hamilton has a whole like workout plan and everything. If Formula One
yeah,
drivers, you ever seen them training? They have to do all sorts of core work because just
yeah.
sitting in I mean, obviously Formula One, you're probably going a bit quicker than a moped, but the same thing applies. That their bodies are being tested when you're going
Yeah,
around, sharp corners and stuff. There's a lot of G force, and you've got to be physically in shape to be able to even deal with that.
yeah, 100%. I think the core is I think where a lot of people found quite a bit how weak people's cores are in general, and how much better they would feel if they were stronger within their core, and how much more they could do, and just general fun, in everyday life.
Yeah,
So the core, I
absolutely.
think, I noticed is people's big weakness, upper body and
Yeah,
core.
what's funny is so many people try and focus on their core by doing sit-ups all the time
Yeah,
and trying to do ab specific workouts. So tell me this, right? What's better for your core? Doing a good range of barbell, overhead press, squats, things that demand strong core stability, or doing sit-ups every day in your room? Which one's better?
lifting without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, it's a compound move. They're compound movements, so they're using everything, and you need to have that core strength to hold that weight on your back. And I'd say this is at the moment my core is the strongest it's ever been. At like I'm like 47, so yeah.
Wow,
So it's
good, yeah.
100% get off the sit ups and do some proper training.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, there's nothing particularly wrong with sit-ups. It's just
No.
the function of your core is to protect your spine essentially. And so
Yeah.
if you're throwing stuff at it that is making your spine wobble, like you've got a heavy weight on your back, you need to be anchored into the ground, and it's your core's job to do that, to protect your body essentially. And so that's how you get abs. That's how people get abs. That's why weightlifters have abs, and people who are bodybuilders, that's essentially a part of how they train.
It's like an armor. That's how I see it, like an armor.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What are your goals this year? I'm guessing riding on bike's one of them.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, yeah, hopefully getting better on a bike, and maybe eventually getting my own like 125, just something small. That'd be great to do that. Inside the gym, I do want to learn. Actually, you reminded me, because I forgot that it was one of my goals to try and do a muscle up, like before it gets too late, because that's going to be hard.
I'll race you.
You'll beat me easily. What else? Goals wise, just build my business, my PT business. As I do enjoy, I love teaching classes as well, but personal training, it's really rewarding watching your clients grow, get stronger, them hitting PBs, them being overjoyed when they've hit that goal they want to hit, lose some weight, whatever it is. Growing my PT business would be awesome.
Yeah, I bet you feel a bit of their joy when they get a PP, right?
Yeah,
you must feel 100%. Good.
Yeah, and if they keep into good form,
Oh yeah, if they're sticking to good form, yeah. So as a girl with biceps, do you think that girls should be afraid to grow their biceps?
No, because I don't think I'm like too hench. I think the comments I get from women are, I would love to have your arms. That's the first thing they say to me. But then some people think, and then others might say, oh, she does too much. But then on the whole, the comments are more positive. And I don't think I'm too, I take creatine as a supplement, and that's about it.
Yeah, same.
And obviously protein, collagen. So that's all the supplements I take. And you're not going to bulk up if you're taking more stuff, then obviously you will bulk up. But you don't want to look like that. Well, as a woman, I don't want to look like that, but I want to look toned, and I want to look strong, I suppose. But as a woman, you're not going to bulk up, you'll just tone up.
When I see someone who's clearly in shape, it's just the only thing I think is just like respect, because I can see, if your arms are that strong, I can see, as someone who goes to the gym as well, like how much work that must have taken.
Yeah.
So all I feel is like it is respect when I see a girl with big biceps, basically. Yeah, I think it's really cool. Anyway, Kat, that's all we've got time for today. You've been amazing. Thanks so much for your time.
Bye.